a fuel blockage. Nothing says fuel blockage upstream like an empty fuel filter bowl. Oh, there's our problem.
We're sailing at like 5.5 knots. There's barely any wind, but there's just no waves or anything there to slow us down.
It's pulled her out.
There's not a breath of wind this morning. It's a total glass out, and we're going to motor into Cardwell, which is not a bad thing because the battery voltage is really, really low at the moment. So we're going to motor in and get the amps in with the alternator.
Get the amps in with the alternator. Beautifully put. Yeah, so that's true. All right. The battery voltage is hovering around about 12.2 to 12.3 and dropping down to 12.1 when the fridge kicks in. So she's under 60%. And even for deep cycle batteries, that's probably a little bit pushing.
And I have to finalise a few of the videos, and we need to get them uploaded at Cardwell because we haven't had any internet for the last couple of weeks. So we need to get those videos out to you guys. So yeah, hopefully we'll have good enough signal in Cardwell to get the videos up.
All right, let's have a look at the charts. It's neap tides, and we'll have a look at what we're going to do with the tides to get in as close as we can. All right, so we've got our trusty little navigation computer here, and if I have a look on our memory maps software, I particularly like using it because it has all the information of paper charts on it, and we are right in the middle of neaps at the moment. And if I look at the tidal levels, refer to datum of soundings on our chart here, mean low water neaps says 1.6 metres. Now I've looked on the tide chart and it actually says today's low tide is 1.2. That's the actual tide, so it's not necessarily the mean average. If we go out and have a look at Cardwell itself, we can see that the soundings that it mentions on the chart is 0.3 metres. That's the chart datum. So 1.2 metres is what low tide is. We add that to the 0.3 and we get 1.5 metres. Yeah. Now Marul draws 1.34. So if we have 1.5 metres, that means we have on low tide, just under 20 centimetres to go in there. If there's no waves, it's a glass out. That's pretty safe. As soon as you had like, a fifth of a metre of chop, you'd be book, 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 bouncing along the bottom. So we'll park off the jetty and we'll go for a look in Cardwell. But if you were to look on the chart here at the moment, you would say 0.2 metres. Well, you'll never get in there in a 1.3 metre vessel. But we just add the tide height to it. And of course we can find that we can actually sneak our way in without too much forward driving.
There was a lot of dew fall last night, so we're just going to leave our laundry up. It's still a bit damp, but it shouldn't fall off while we're motoring. Look how glassed out it is. It's pretty still. Troy's not having any trouble pulling up the anchor chain.
Well, at least we're not making any pretense of being sailors today, are we? Chinese laundry, duh.
What's happened?
We've got a fuel blockage from the day tank to this Racor. And I know that because I've just taken this Racor lid off.
And it's dry?
And it's not overflowing. That should be spilling out quite freely. It's not. Nothing says fuel blockage upstream like an empty fuel filter bowl. Look at that, I've even spilled some fuel. So I knew this was a fuel problem when the engine just stopped then, because it wasn't sudden. It laboured, it coughed, and then it went out. If the engine had seized, through lack of oil or some other just horribly expensive thing, it would have probably made a nice big squeal and then just seized up and stopped. Whereas this sort of coughed out. Diesels don't rely on any sort of electrics. Like a petrol engine, you might start getting a fouled spark plug or something like that, and it would labour for a long time. But this was fairly quick, but it stuttered and stopped. So I knew that the engine was starved for fuel. It stopped making explosions inside. So now what I have to do is figure out why it got blocked before the Racor. All right, so somewhere in our day tank, some bit of junk. It's an old tank, maybe it's a flake of rust, maybe it's some sort of scunge. I don't think it's fuel bug or contamination, but there's something in there that's gone into this very, very thin fuel line and caused a blockage somewhere. Now that's a real pain in the bum. For one of the major things that I wanted to sort out and pull the boat out is I want to get this fuel tank out and put a stopcock. I want to put a valve at the bottom of it, because at the moment it doesn't have a valve. So I can't disconnect this hose unless I want fuel to run everywhere, all over the boat. All right. And it's a stupid, stupid, stupid design. And it's something I want to do something about. I want to make a whole new fuel tank. But at the moment, I can't lament it. I have to fix it. So the flow of fuel out of the line from the day tank is good. It's good and healthy. But the flow of fuel into the filter is not good and healthy at all. I've just changed this filter. Let's have a look. Nothing wrong with that. So
that's just the line from the fuel tank that you're just bolting up.
Yep, just the line from the day tank. So as you can see, that's just totally unsatisfactory. We should have a valve on that.
Yeah.
For my next trick, I'm going to have to dismantle that Racor. Okay, I think it looks like the blockage is from the inlet to the Racor into the filter housing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is all highly irregular, Pascal. Normally when I'm doing something like this, it's just the boat is drifting down upon like a big reef edge or something horrible is about to happen. We're not just anchored in a glass out in 2.5 metres of water. So, you've got to win a few, I reckon.
You like doing it by feel?
Yeah. Sort of raises the philosophical question, doesn't it? What do you see with your eyes or your brain? Because at the moment I'm using my fingers to see, aren't I?
Mm.
You want to philosophise while you're getting greasy and dirty? Well, this is a water separation filter.
Mm.
And I would say the inside of that old tank, looking at that, is hideous, isn't it?
Mm.
And also the fact
Yeah.
the fact that this looks like this means that I should be punished a lot more than just breaking down in the Cardwell channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I first got this boat, it was just running straight from there, straight into that filter, straight into the engine.
Mm.
It was just a recipe for disaster. Because diesels, look, if you give them clean air and clean fuel, and clean oil, you very rarely have problems. Oh, there's our problem. What do you think? Look at that.
Rust.
That is a bad scene, Pascal.
Mm.
Now, with a Racor filter, they're actually a water separation filter. And the magic of it all is this little hollow floating ball. Usually it looks nice and shiny. It doesn't look like that. If you pull apart a Racor, take note in which order it goes in with that washer. All right, that orange washer looks like it should go in like this and then house the ball. It doesn't. And if you do that, your engine will not start. That will jam like that and block it.
Suck in the ball.
Yeah, so I've actually been on a ship where there must have been a disgruntled outgoing engineer and the engine wouldn't start. And I actually got to the stage where the Racor, I was like, oh, there's no fuel getting to the lift pump. So I thought maybe the Racor's blocked, and I dismantled it and I found that. So I don't know whether that was deliberate or an innocent mistake, but the effect was that the engine didn't start. So there we go. This looks like just total rubbish. Girls, if you're going to sea, don't do as Pascal did and go to sea with a man that has a Racor like that. All right, you can tell a lot about someone by the quality of their, well, the the condition of their Racor filter. And feel free to tell me what a jerk I am in the comments, because on this occasion you'll be right. Before we started this, I said that this is most irregular. Normally we would be drifting down upon like a surf break or something like that. Now what I would have done in that instance is I would have definitely just used that other fuel hose that we've got, because we carry a long length of it. Blam, straight from the fuel tank, straight to the secondary filter, bled the engine and started and bypassed the Racor till we could get out, drop the anchor, and then I would go through this process. So I do actually carry enough fuel line. I actually carry about 3 meters of the correct size fuel line. So we have more than enough to do any number of sort of tricky bypasses. Even if it meant siphoning out of a jerry can straight into the secondary filter.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We could do that. So, you know, like it's you want to be an inventive yachty, but you want to have just a few spares on board. You know, think about some of the issues you might have, and that's a really good one. If you've got an extra bit of fuel line, you can make anything into a fuel tank. If your primary fuel tank has failed you, or I won't say failed you, if your maintenance schedule is anything like mine and you've overlooked this because you're making videos like an idiot, then you might have to improvise. So give yourself a fighting chance and just have a few things. Some hose clamps, some fuel line, spare belts is really great. Hopefully you've got a girlfriend that wears stockings, because stockings can help. You know, like they make good filters, they make good fan belts. Have a good set of tools and have you know, have a good working knowledge of what's going on with your engine. Alright, so I'm just going to use a bit of wire now just to poke down in that that fuel line, get the last bit of the blockage out. I rounded the end of my wire, not left a sharp edge, because I don't want to score the inside of that. All I want to do is just sort of rub down, loosen up any junk that's in there, scrape it out in fact. Then if I go digging around there with a sharp cut end, I'm bound to score it. But you can see, like, despite all of that, this diesel engine, until the very last straw, you know, it just could not get any more fuel. It kept on going. And there's a reason why diesel engines are still the most popular choice amongst commercial vessels. Well, basically the only choice really. And that is because of their extreme reliability and hardiness.
Yuck. Oh, it's all over you.
Yeah, I know.
Cheese, rusty
I
cheese.
should have shot that straight into a rag, but I wasn't thinking.
Can you see clearly?
I can now. That is a nice, clean... Well, it's not nice and clean, but it's clear.
It's clear.
Okay, so I've put the lid back on and just tightened it down. Open up the valves, close the drain, and I'm just going to just blow into one end. Just make sure that all the seals are working and that I've put it back together.
Good.
If it's airtight, it's diesel tight. Alright, so we'll just reinstall it, hook it all back up, put the filter back in, and then I'm going to need to bleed the system back to the injectors and start this engine back up so we can proceed on our way. It hasn't taken that long, has it, Pascal?
Nah, an hour or so.
Yeah, it's pretty minor. I still have a hard time working on these little engines, you know.
You want to go back to work?
I go to work every day now.
Yeah, you do.
There's not even weekends off anymore,
No.
is there?
There's always a camera in your face, isn't there?
Well, when there's not a camera, we're making films or doing something, so... I've swapped month on for month off for...
362 days a year.
Month on, month on. Basically. So I've loosened the bleed screw there. So we'll just... Fuel's going through our Racor. It's not pouring out of our Racor, and that's really encouraging. The nice thing about having a day tank above your engine is I'm pumping the fuel pump, but I don't really need to. Gravity is my pump. So here's our secondary fuel filter. Alright, fuel's coming through the Racor and to this. That is so we can drain air out. So I turn the tap on. Yep, fuel comes out. That needs to be shut. Alright. So it's got a copper washer. And now the next point in the line, if we follow the hose through, after this you can see the arrow, it goes down this line and into our high pressure injection pump. So what I need to do now is crack this here, alright, and pump it until we get a nice, well, I don't even need to pump it because the fuel tank's above it. I just need to crack that now, turn this valve on until an air-free stream of fuel comes out of that.
Yep.
Now the next point in the line after that injection pump is this injector here. So what I actually need to do for this one is to crack that, and very careful not to have my hands anywhere around here because high pressure diesel will penetrate into your skin and give you blood poisoning. I just want to put a rag just to the side where I'm anticipating a bit of fuel might go out. Make sure it's not near any belts, make sure it can't get sucked into my air filter. Just crack that banjo just a little bit. And I'm going to turn the engine over, and that will drain the last of the air out of this system. Had it at about half revs, popped it, let it, and it started just fine. Okay, well the tide's going out at the moment, so we had to abandon our spot on the shallows, but we got in, did what we have to do. Now we're just anchored out here in 2 metres of water. The tide's going to turn about midday, and then we're going to go down the Hinchinbrook Channel, so we're anchored here at the mouth. There's Cardwell behind us. It's a bit of a sleepy little town, nestled in the Cardwell Ranges. It's had significant rebuilding since Cyclone Yassi came along in 2012 and tried to wipe it off the map. But they've done a pretty good job, and the foreshore's been rebuilt. There's a lot going on there, so it's not too bad. But on the right tide you can get in nice and close, grab a few supplies, stores, things like that. There is actually there's a marina here, and you can go in there at any stage of the tide and do your thing if you really want to, but it's pretty easy. Go in on the high tide, drop a day pick, zoom in, grab your things and bail again. Yesterday was a little bit choppy, you know, like the sea breeze came in and there's probably about 40 centimetre, you know, like a chop come in. It was no big deal. So that's it. We just got to wait. There's hardly any wind forecast at the moment. So yeah, just hurry up and wait. Well, there we go. We're doing 3.5 knots. It certainly doesn't feel like it. But I don't know, we've got about 5-6 knots of wind, maybe. I guess it's sort of a mountain range to windward of us, so I don't think we're going to really be bustling along on this one. But,
Nice and chilled.
Yeah, you sort of happy with this pace? 3.5 knots?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go down and make us some lunch.
Sushi?
Yeah, some sushi with the coral trout we still got from Holmes Reef.
Alright. Well, I'll try and catch us some more sushi.
Yeah, well, I saw long-tailed tuna this morning while we were uploading the video.
Those things just get everywhere, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see how we go. I mean, I'm going to try and skim the outer edge of the channel to stay off the island as far as possible. We might hold the wind and sail all the way down. I'm really, really reluctant to
put the engine on.
Start the engine.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of a wind shadow earlier, but now we've come out from behind the big peak of Hinchinbrook Island and we're sailing at like 5.5 knots. There's barely any wind, but there's just no waves or anything there to slow us down. So we're going fast. It's cool.
Let's pull her out.
We're going 5 and a bit knots?
Well, no, we've sort of slowed down because the wind's just eased off. We were doing 5.5. Now we're just doing about 4.5 now.
Very peaceful.
The wind keeps bouncing up the hills and stuff, and the autopilot's just having a small meltdown.
It's doing big like S's
It's
behind
keeping us
us.
roughly on track, but it's just not. We're going twice as far as we need to be, really.
As the sun set, we put anchor down in the Hinchinbrook Channel. We awoke the next morning to a glass out and, with the conditions perfect for the expedition, we decided to motor sail to Zoe Bay on the eastern side of Hinchinbrook Island. This is Lucinda Jetty. It is a bulk sugar terminal and at nearly 6 kilometres, or 3.5 miles long, it is said to be the longest jetty in the southern hemisphere. This jetty enables Lucinda to receive the largest ships in the sugar trade. A lot of Australian sugar is exported to Malaysia and Canada from here.
You run from me despite all I've done for you. You run from me to make it easier for you. Stand aside, let me be. Stand aside.
tide at the moment is 0.7 metres, and there's about half a metre of water over that sandbar. So I think I'll wait till we get to 2 metres at 3:30 this afternoon, and then we'll trial that again, because full driving's not our thing in the boat, is it really, Pascal? Well, it is, but we try not to.
No, we hit a rock.
So I had to come in here and have a look. Things have changed since I was last in here, cyclones and things like that. But I've eyeballed it now, and we've got some landmarks. So once all that's covered in water, it's going to look like a big broad entrance, but it's not. It's still a narrow one. But we'll wait till 2 metres. So that's 1.3, which is about Marul's draft. And we'll go in, and it'll still be quite skinny under us. So you just leave looking at the sounder to me, because it might be a bit nerve-wracking otherwise.
I reckon I'll just be up on the bow.
Yeah. All right. Well, hurry up and wait. What is it? It's just under 1 o'clock now, so it's about time for a cup of tea. I reckon we've got 2 hours. 2 hours to kill.
Thank you for tuning into Free Range Sailing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as it really helps get our video out to more viewers. If you'd like to keep track of us in real time, there is links in the description to our Facebook and Instagram page, as well as loads of other great information that you might find useful.